Hey guys, I'm Crystal.
And I'm Martin.
And we just bought a house.
Indeed, we did.
We are millennials, and we actually never really thought that would be something that would be possible for us. It was a lot of work, especially in a very expensive city. We live in New York, and cost of living here is very, very high. But we did it, and we think you can too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the general reason we're trying to start this channel is because we want to demystify and take away the aspects of buying a house that might seem a little scary, especially in a city like New York. Because if you had told me that, I don't know, a few years ago that I would own a house at this point in New York City, I probably would have told you that you were crazy. Again, in my family, as I'm a born and bred New Yorker with Polish immigrant parents who, you know, have chased after the American dream. They became citizens, but they have never owned a home. So it was never something that I was around. You have the benefit of the fact that your mom's a real estate agent, right? And
yeah, my mom's a real estate agent. But I too never thought I'd own a home for the sheer fact of we both have acting backgrounds. He's more so in film and TV. I'm more so in theater. So I've lived kind of all over the country. But always apartments. We've both had a lot of different apartments, and we've always kind of heard that it's the more financially smart thing to do. I mean, especially because millennials don't really have money. So.
That is one of those things that I've read a lot about. You know, there are plenty of articles out there that say like, oh, you know, don't buy a home because this, and this. I think what we've come to find out is that owning a home is actually working out for us in a lot of ways. You know, we are millennials, and our generation is more likely to move around and, you know, explore life and all the things that come with it, which is moving to different cities, states, countries, whatever. But honestly, there's no reason why owning a home should prevent that. You know, with our current setup, we have a 2-family home. And if we were to rent out both the downstairs and the upstairs, because let's say we wanted to move to California or Kentucky or Florida or a different country, it would self-sustain itself. You know, it would be one of those things where the mortgage would be paid for based on market rent that we would be able to charge. And we would then also have some extra money in our pockets that could facilitate, or at least, you know, it would make it easier to live somewhere else. You know, let's say we would get XYZ dollars, and then we had about, I mean, from what I've calculated in the past, we'd probably have an excess of like $800, right? If we rented out both floors.
Yeah.
That $800 can go a long way towards renting an apartment in Florida. I mean, I don't know what Florida rentals are like. And
our
dog is just popping up in the video. But there are a lot of reasons why I feel like buying a home is a smart move. Now, not everybody has the money to put down a down payment, but there are so many options out there for people who have little to no money, and a lot of it comes from knowing where to look and having the right input from the right people to guide you. Now, we kind of did this without a lot of input.
Yeah, we really didn't have a lot of help. I mean, like you said, my mom is a real estate agent, but she's a real estate agent in Kentucky, which is just a whole different ballgame than it is here in New York.
Yeah.
Very different market. The real estate game here in New York City is very saturated. Real estate in New York especially is kind of always a smart bet, but because of that, there's a lot of people in the game, and they all want a slice of the pie.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, real estate prices here are outrageous. I mean, it really gets to a point where it kind of, you know, turns people off from wanting to buy a house in New York City. And again, people look for convenience, they look for places close to their job, and sometimes, depending on how you want to situate your life financially, you have to start, you know, you have to think about what's most important to you. It's like, are you thinking long-term or are you thinking short-term? Short-term obviously makes sense for some people based on what they do with their lives. Long-term is something that I think people really need to start maybe thinking more about. And when you get an FHA loan and you can put 3.5% down, it starts to be a little less daunting of a task, you know? And then there's all these grants that just about every state in the country has, mind
that
you.
we didn't know about.
Yeah. And
we did a lot of our own personal research because we didn't have a lot of help besides my mom, but she was learning along with us. New York does what? So it was a learning process.
And it's not just that we only had our mom. The other thing that we want to touch on in these videos is that it's very, very important to have a good circle around you when you do any kind of major step in your life. You know, people say that all the time, whether it's keeping good friends or family or whatever, but also when you are undertaking buying a home anywhere, it's important that you have a good mortgage broker that understands your needs. It's important that you have a great real estate attorney that can explain certain parts of the process that you might not understand. Make sure that you don't, end up in some way screwed by something that's written into a contract. You know, it's their job to catch that kind of stuff and to look out for your best interests. And obviously a good real estate agent is very, very important. Unfortunately,
we didn't so much have that.
Yeah, we can't really speak to the real estate aspect of it because we didn't exactly have a good real estate agent. I was basically the real estate agent in terms of finding this home. And the title of the video, that we bought a house for $8,000. You know, I don't want it to be too clickbaity. That's one thing that you and I talked about from the beginning. I don't want it to be something that somebody's like, oh, it's this, and this. Like, it is possible in a lot of ways to do what we did. I'm not saying that every single person everywhere can do what we did. We just had things aligned just about perfectly for us in terms of the financial aspects of it. But just to give you a quick rundown, we put a 3.5% down payment, which was about $21,000. And at closing, we received a closing credit of about $13,500, something along those lines, which is where we get this number. Now, in a lot of ways, people say you should have maybe put that money back into the mortgage. And again, I had a fantastic mortgage broker who had at-length discussions with me, with you. We were on the phone together, him explaining things at length. He was
very patient with us.
Exactly. And again, it's wonderful that he was patient because you would think that everybody should be patient, but not everybody's patient.
Yeah.
But we didn't know what we were doing when we got into it. I mean, I'm an insomniac, so I spent just days or nights, hours at a time researching all this stuff so I could come into the conversation with him with more information and more questions and try to see what he can do with the information that I was able to discover online. And he, with the credit, him and I had discussed it, and he pointed out, it's maybe a $50 saving here and there, $20 saving here and there if I put that money back into the house. So what we decided to do is we took that money and we invested into an Airbnb upstairs.
Yeah.
Paid for all our furniture, everything that we put into it, and it's been working out great for us because we basically are averaging with the Airbnb about 3/4 of our mortgage every month. And we don't have people every day. We don't have people every week. We charge the right amount of money. We're very close to a beach. We're in a wonderful location in terms of that. It's very calm, except for what you see right now because there is a storm happening behind us.
Storm going on.
But
we will probably want to touch on Airbnb as well in later videos. It's a whole beast in itself, but it has been overall a great experience for us, especially when you're talking about renting as opposed to Airbnb. What it's allowed us to do is basically it gives us a lot more protection. When you're renting a home and something breaks down, when you're the renter, your landlord or your superintendent has to come and fix it. When you're the homeowner, you got to fix it, or you have to have somebody. His dad is a contractor, which has been invaluable to us,
very, very
but not
helpful.
everyone has that. So that's been a large consideration.
And with Airbnb, there's a lot of protections, right? So if somebody does damage your home or does do something stupid, they sponsor you. I mean, it's what is it, $1 million host guarantee? And on top of it, I'm a New Yorker, but most of my family lives in Poland. Her family lives in Kentucky,
Ohio, Texas.
all over the place. And what having an Airbnb has allowed us to do is it gives us more freedom of our own lives and of our family's lives because we have now a 3-bedroom apartment that if any of them want to come through, it is fully furnished, fully stocked, and to be honest, sometimes we feel like it looks better than our own apartment.
For sure.
So
we take very good care of it.
I personally love it because I do think that family is very, very important, and you should be able to have the space for them. However, sometimes you might not want to be completely on top of them all the time. So giving them that personal, private space that we put our own touches into is great, you know?
And that's something that is maybe not easy to come by for other New Yorkers because we all live in shoeboxes here. We are very, very lucky with what we found because we do have the two families. So if we want to put our family upstairs for a week or whatever, we have that option. Most New Yorkers don't because they're living in a closet.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've done a lot of research, he has especially, and, you know, basically what we want to touch on in future videos is we want to break down all of these things categorically, like our mortgage broker, our FHA loans, real estate agents, PMI, how you can finance your home, appraisals, we'll go into the Airbnb, and then we also want to talk about what it's like after you buy the home.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the goal of this channel is to kind of make it a full lifestyle channel from beginning, not to end, obviously, because our lives aren't ending, but basically, we want to touch on the first step. You know, I've felt, and, you know, I talked to you about this, I feel like that a lot of these channels that are on YouTube, they do wonderful jobs of touching, let's say, on design, reviews, whatever. But a lot of the time, the assumption is that maybe, let's say, the person already owns the home, has the home, didn't struggle to get the home, whatever. And I feel like what's maybe missing is a more in-depth look into how you get the home and how you can do it in a way that financially makes sense to you. Because there are these grants. You know, the title of our video is accurate for us, and it could even be accurate for you, and even in a better way. Like, for example, there were grants that we almost qualified for but didn't, but if we had, we would have put 0 into this house. And that's not just like saying it to say it, it's not to be clickbaity, it's not to be whatever. That is the honest truth. There are programs out there that aren't well advertised, in my opinion, by any mortgage broker or any bank in a lot of ways, and people need to find it themselves. It's almost like, you know, you don't get what you don't ask for. You don't get what you don't actually put the effort into. And, you know, we put in a lot of effort.
We had a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
So we feel like there's some things we would have done differently, and it was a learning process, and we think we've learned a lot, and we want to be able to give that back to you guys because some of this information is not readily available.
Yeah, or if it is readily available, some of the better stuff, you know, it's a little bit deeper. You got to dig deeper, you got to look for it deeper, and we want to kind of video by video break down the whole process if you guys are interested, because obviously, you know, I bounced around so many ideas about what I could do with the knowledge that I accrued over, you know, the course of buying a house. And, you know, we went over everything from me teaching a class to being a real estate agent to, you know, a YouTube channel. And so we've kind of settled on this, and obviously your support, your subscribes, your likes, that helps us be able to do this and to make it financially feasible for us as well. Because you know what? As you become a homeowner, you also have to think about things financially. You have to kind of save money. You have to figure out what the next step is. You have to have a rainy day fund, no pun intended.
One of the things I'm going to talk about in later videos is the fact that owning a home is very time consuming. You don't really realize just how much there is to do all the time. So I'm very blessed that I have a job where I can set my own hours, and that's been very helpful as well, because if he has a last minute job and has to take off for work, we also have a dog that we have to take care of. But it's been helpful. So yeah.
I mean, we want to make this a lifestyle channel, basically. We do want to touch on things like reviews because we have, you know, I'm a huge tech guy. She looks into more of the home stuff, and I mean, we do it together. We basically do everything in both worlds together, but there's certain things that obviously get me more excited. There's certain things that get you more excited. Like, for example, when we decked out this place with Philips Hue lights, I mean, phenomenal idea, has helped us in a lot of ways, namely in security when we go away for a certain amount of time. There's a lot of things that I feel like we can touch on a little bit more in depth in reviews that, yes, other people do, but we're gonna try to make it a little bit more geared towards the everyday person, somebody who might just literally get up, go to a store, and buy Philips Hue bulbs and figure out why I need it, why I want it. You know, we want to touch on anything from solar panels, which is something that we put on our house, which has been a wonderful,
saved us a lot of money.
So much money. I mean, we pay a flat rate, and we're accruing credits at this point because we had a fantastic person that we worked with. They hooked us up. It's a great thing to consider, especially in this day and age with climate change and trying to do your part in helping. And solar power does its part. It really does, and it works really well.
Yeah.
From our security system, you know, love it. I think it's phenomenal.
We've put a lot of work into this house that's made our life easier, but also, I don't know if you could hear our Vivint system just now, but made our life easier and also more financially smart for us because we are trying to invest in our future. And
that's what we think that everybody needs to do. And if we can just be one step in your progress to kind of get further in life, and you know, we're not just going for millennials, even though that is a group that I feel like we're trying to address really well. We're kind of going for everybody. Anybody who feels like they can't get something done, or they feel like, you know, it's not for me, I don't have the money, I don't have this, I don't have that. You know what? I know what that feels like. You know what that feels like. We have gone through that, the negative thoughts, the whatever. But at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt to try. It doesn't hurt to educate yourself about things that you might not do now, but you might do later down the road. Because a lot of these things that we're going to talk about are going to exist a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And personally, I believe that putting all this information into one space, I think, has some value. Not to be, you know, tooting our own horn or whatever. I just think that I wish that this was something that somebody put together when we were buying a house. Yeah. Like, I wish there was somebody who had done the hours and hours of research, the conversations with real, you know, with brokers and attorneys and things like that, and had the right recommendations, the right people to work with, the people who would understand you, who would take the time to spend with you. Again, we're creating quite a long video, and we're assuming that you want to spend this time with us as well.
Airbnb guests just pulled in our driveway, so you might see them walk past.
Yeah, and you know, we don't want to obviously make videos that are ridiculously long, but at the same time, some of these topics are more in depth, and I think we need to open up the attention span a little bit. You know, I think with a stereotype for all of us is that we have short attention spans as millennials, and I want to counteract that a little bit because I don't think we do. I think we actually care about information. I think we care about learning, and just because we want it a little bit faster doesn't mean we won't take the time if something has value, and we need to educate ourselves about it. And I hope that you guys will tune in. You guys will send us your questions, comments,
please
emails.
ask questions, because we do want to comment on things that you are genuinely interested in knowing. I mean, there's a lot of topics we could cover, but ask us questions, and please like and subscribe so that we can continue making videos in the future.
Yeah, because that's incredibly important. You guys are the ones that are going to allow us to keep this going, and we really, I mean, genuinely, we want to do this. I mean, I've been talking about this for a year now, and we finally sat down to do it, and of course there's a thunderstorm outside and whatever, but we really want to bring this to you guys, and I just feel like if you guys join us, this will be a good experience for many of you, I hope. And I want to pass on the knowledge that I've learned. I don't want to keep it to myself or with you or with, you know, anybody that we've spoken to. We want this to be broader. We want people to understand that all these tools are out there and they're a little hidden, but we want to guide you to them. Yeah, we want to guide you to them. It's possible. It is possible, like we did, to buy a house for $7,000 and basically finance a business, because that's what we did.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, we bought a house and we started a business at the same time.
Yep.
I mean, as someone who is 26 years old, you are 32 years old. Like, we are millennials, we are young, and we, in the span of a year, changed our entire lives.
Yeah.
Honestly, for the better. And we want to help people do the same. And that's what it basically comes down to. And obviously we have to be a little bit interested in people subscribing and liking and whatever, because that helps us be able to bring all this to you, this content. Right now, we are using an iPhone. The audio is probably not great. We obviously want to invest more money into this, but first we want to put out our feelers and see if you guys are interested in basically our lifestyle channel. Yeah. We're going to go from the beginning to just after owning a home to basically our lives from then on. Reviewing products that you guys might care about for around the house, you know, as new homeowners. And again, that includes the security systems, the solar panels, the lights, appliances. I mean, things that have genuinely helped us have easier lives. I mean, we had an apartment where we didn't have a dishwasher. And I love our dishwasher. I have never in my life had a dishwasher.
He doesn't love it as much as I do.
But I love having a dishwasher, and that might sound silly, but for somebody in New York who wasn't living in any kind of renovated upscale apartments, like, you know, I grew up in Brooklyn.
It's not the norm here. It's also not the norm to have central AC, even in a brand new home.
Yeah.
So that was another thing we invested in we could talk about, but...
Yeah, and I mean, there are so many little things that I feel like get us excited that might not get everybody excited, but I'm sure there are other people out there like me who have never had a dishwasher in their life, and when they get a dishwasher, they're like, wow, that is amazing, because it is. And, you know, I also spent a lot of time researching the appliances that we purchased, why we were going to purchase them. Everything that went upstairs was meticulously thought out in how we designed every bedroom, and we want to help people understand how to go about the process.
Yeah.
And
I've also never had a security system before, so that was exciting to me.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you, it's great. I don't have to get up to turn down the thermostat or turn up the thermostat. That's
turn off the lights.
Pretty awesome. Yeah. And basically, we want you to understand that this is going to be a lifestyle channel, but our first videos are going to deal with the house buying process from beginning to end, from finding a house to, can I even get a house? Do I qualify for a house? What does it mean? What do I need? What do brokers need? I might even bring in the broker that we worked with, because he actually expressed interest and he would probably want to reach out to you guys. And I cannot recommend him enough. And the same thing with my attorney that dealt with the whole contract process of the house. And basically everything that went through in this process. Mm-hmm. Can we qualify? Yes, we can. Can we get grants? Yes, we can. How do they work? What grants are out there? You know, where do you have to go to find them? Where are you going to make sure that you're also getting the right information and you're not being swindled? Because we will touch on this in another video. In New York City, there's some weird stuff going on when it comes to, some weird things going on when it comes to being able to get that little certificate. Because to qualify for any of the grants and to apply for them, we're just going to say this off the bat, you need to have a certificate. How you get that certificate, we will go into, but also it's a little weird to us how that process works, and we made it work for ourselves and we paid nothing for it, and we want to talk to you guys about that. Grants, the appraisal process of getting a home, what that means for you in terms of your mortgage ultimately, and how much money you might get at closing, things like that. And then we will probably start everything else. I mean, touching on the Airbnb, touching on the things that matter to us, furniture even.
Yeah, things we've put in the home to make our life easier.
She might do some makeup.
Do some makeup. We might put this one in here.
We might do some dog video parts because he's great and he loves people. So, you know, he's enjoyable.
He's a silly dog, and we will
also
definitely
didn't think
him.
we would buy a dog within our first year of buying a home because there was already a lot to deal with, but we fell in love, so we made it work.
We also have a funny story about why we got this dog, and we will gladly tell you guys if you guys are interested. and he has been an amazing aspect of our lives, especially in the first year of owning a home. We have a yard. We have a backyard. I mean, it's pretty great. And we want everybody to have this information. Even if you do nothing with it, even if you don't utilize it, even if you still, after you listen to our videos, you feel like it's not for you, fine. The goal here is to just educate, or not even just to inform people that there are all these options out here for you. And if you don't agree with every aspect of what we're saying, or you don't get something out of everything, we're hoping that at some point in the channel we will touch on something that matters to each and every single one of you, whether it's through our reviews, whether it's through our dog,
Just eating our flower.
yeah, or just about anything, because we want to make a millennial channel. We want to make a lifestyle channel for millennials and maybe debunk a few things that people think are scary or weird. So if you want to support us in our journey, like, subscribe, share.
Please comment, ask us questions you want us to cover.
We will put put in our profile, I think, our business email for Airbnb that we use, and you can feel free to email us, to reach out to us. You can even book with us if you're looking for a vacation. We are a 15-minute walk from the beach. I gotta say, we really lucked out with, honestly, where we're living. I mean, we have a beautiful view of the bay that you can't see right now because of the storm, but it's great. It's a dead-end street. It's beautiful. It's calm. Our neighbors bought our dog's brother, so that's the whole part of the story.
Yeah.
So we have 2 huskies who are related to each other on the block, which is always a fun experience. So join us before our dog destroys our flowers, because then we have to get new flowers. So
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you.